Alright guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Television, episode 12. So, we're here to discuss, of course, some of the biggest news. I don't want to say all, but some of the biggest news for this week in TV stuff, of course, this week's episode. Well, yeah, or today's, right? Yeah, whatever, right? This episode, we'll be talking about, I think I got 5 topics to talk about here. This one shouldn't be, as long of an episode as some other ones. Not a lot of stuff this week, coming out. But, of course, there is some important ones, starting with the True Detective Season 4, and how the showrunner Nick Pizzolatto, has kind of come out and said in an interview that he already has an idea for a season 4. And then also we have some comments then on the HBO side of things, commenting on what that idea could be, and also, when we're going to see a season 4 then, and how all that is going. So anyway, so we'll start off the show, of course, with that topic. That'll be our spotlight today. And then, of course, we'll get into some other ones. The Disney Villains possible show going into development. So that actually sounds really, really cool. We're going to talk about the Walking Dead spinoff, how that was announced this week. Star Trek Discovery renewed this week for season 3. And then also, I just want to share my thoughts quickly on the HBO 2019 trailer, which I definitely thought I would, talk about in this one, share my thoughts. So, anyways, guys, as always, all this stuff is posted in the description ahead of the episode. So if you're interested or you want to know more about what I'm kind of talking about, I will, of course, put those topics in the description. And I'd love to hear your thoughts along the way here for this episode. As always, right, love to hear your thoughts in the live chat, or if you're watching afterwards, please leave your comments on any or all of this news. And also, if you want to leave questions that are not necessarily related to this stuff, definitely feel free to do that as well. Love to answer those questions and discuss that with you. I mean, this is a news-based television, discussion show, but, obviously it's a television show as well, so I'd love to talk about other TV shows as well. As I get to near the end of the episode, I go over my weekly notables, and that's a time where I, basically recap what I've watched in the week and pick my best episode and best performance. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on those ones as well, for the week of what you're watching. And also, I'd love to hear what you guys are watching right now. I know there's some really anticipated shows coming out in the next month, even just in this March month now. We're into March, and there's some really great ones. So I'd love to hear what you guys are looking forward to, and also what you're watching now as well. But anyways, without any further ado, then let's get into our main topic, our spotlight for this episode, which is that the True Detective showrunner already has an idea for a season 4. So, of course, I just want to, kind of preface this. So, of course, the season 3 finale of True Detective aired February 24th. If you want to go over my Chatterbox Reviews channel, I did a review for it, of course. I did a review for every episode, actually, of season 3 over on that channel. 30-minute kind of review, deep dive, recaps of those episodes. And you know what? The finale was disappointing to me, especially since I've had some time to look back on it. A lot of things were kind of just disappointing about it. But I did think, in terms and context of an episode in itself, I thought it was actually a very good episode. And the stuff that they actually were able to kind of explore just through, it was about an hour and 10 minutes. And so I thought they did a lot in the episode. Now, it wasn't as satisfying as I may have liked it to be, but I did recognize the quality, and a lot of the acting was what stood out to me for sure in this last episode as well, as long as the rest of the season as well. But anyways, so that is just off the bat. The finale for season 3 just aired last week. Like, it'll literally be a week tomorrow, right? And so then we get this news. This article is from Bustle, but I've also seen other kind of more credible sources talk about this one. But I liked this Bustle article because it gave us some quotes and some pieces or snippets from these interviews from Nick Pizzolatto that he's given, saying kind of his intentions and his plans for a season 4. And so this is obviously some really cool stuff, and obviously at the top of the mind for a lot of True Detective fans, especially after this season 3, which I and a lot of people agree was a true return to form to True Detective after season 2 was a little bit of a step down for sure. But anyway, so let's get into this one. This is the Bustle article. It's a little long, but I'm going to read through this little snippet here, and then I'll share my thoughts on this one. So, With the season finale of True Detective Season 3 on February 24th, viewers may finally find out what happened to Julie Purcell. And of course, that is the case that they were telling basically through the 8 episodes this season. So, after that, the future of the anthology series is just as big of a mystery since HBO hasn't announced if True Detective will return for a Season 4. Thanks to the show's return to form after Season 2, due to a far more well-written story and Mahershala Ali's tremendous performance, fans want to see what else creator Nick Pizzolatto has in mind. Ahead of the Season 3 premiere in January, Pizzolatto spoke to Entertainment Weekly about the possibility of a Season 4. While he noted he wouldn't mind working on a series where he didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time, he did admit that he already has a wild idea for a 4th season. A wild idea. So this is getting good, right? So I have an idea that's kind of crazy. This is quotes, right? I have an idea that's kind of crazy. I think it needs to percolate for a while. I was looking to do another series, maybe a movie in the meantime, but yeah, I have an idea. He promised, unquote, he promised in the same interview. Based on a recent interview from the president of programming at HBO, Casey Blois, it sure seems that Pizzolatto will be allowed to keep going. Blois spoke to Deadline after the 5th episode of True Detective Season 3 aired and only had positive things to say. So, quote from Casey Blois, "Creatively, ratings-wise, it did everything that we wanted it to do," right? High praise there. "It's up to 8 million viewers an episode. We were thrilled with the review. I think fans have really liked it. Obviously, acting is superb as well. I was very, 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 3 varies, very happy with all aspects of it. As for Season 4, unquote, as for Season 4, Blois seemed to leave the ball in Pizzolatto's creative court. Quote, I think we are going to handle it the same way as the last one. If Nick has an idea that he's excited about, we will talk about it, but not rushing into anything," Blois said. And then Bustle finished it off. "This percolating idea that Pizzolatto has for Season 4 is certainly intriguing at this point." So, really cool stuff here. Just some quick off the bat, just kind of my reaction to some of this stuff here. 8 million viewers an episode, that's crazy. I mean, if you look at the live viewing numbers that HBO has released so far, it's like 1.5 million. So, you know, all these services, again, I mean, it's worth saying, right? A lot of them don't even release, you know, numbers, and also at times don't release completely accurate numbers either, right? Netflix, you see this all the time. You know, some series they'll say did really well, others not so much, and you really never know how many viewers or what the ratings are for these shows. It just seems like Netflix either cancels it or renews it or whatever, right? And so, I mean, that could be the case here, but still, 8 million viewers, if it's even close to that, is still very impressive. Especially, you know, after Season 2, probably a lot of people kind of got off the wagon. But Season 1, I you know, really sold a lot of people, including myself. And, you know, I think that's why so many people gave Season 3 a chance and gave Nick Pizzolatto another go at it. I mean, like, the hate for Season 2 is off the charts. I mean, you know, even if you go to these, like, fan pages, they all hate Season 2, but they love Season 1 and Season 3. So, anyway, so it is great to see that. So 8 million an episode, he says. The fan reaction was really, really great. And it sounds like HBO was happy with every aspect of it. And so, of course, they're going to give Nick Pizzolatto another chance for Season 4, right? If this Season 3 went bad, however, I don't know if we would have, right? I don't know if we would have. But another key thing that is in this quote from the HBO president of programming is we will talk about it, but not rushing into anything. So that's a big part, because I think a lot of people attribute Season 2's failing, or, you know, flopping, if you will, to rushing into it, right? It seems as though HBO kind of rushed Pizzolatto into that season, and the writing for it was not as good as Season 1. It just simply wasn't a story that was fleshed out enough, and really wasn't, you know, it just really wasn't developed fully, and you could really kind of tell that on screen, even with the likes of Rachel McAdams, Vince Vaughn. You could definitely see that kind of showing through. And so I think the whole basis of this article and this news is that they're going to wait a little bit, and you see that with Nick Pizzolatto. He says that he wants to work on another series or movie before he goes into Season 4, so, and he says he wants to leave that idea percolating. So I think this is probably the best possible outcome. We're getting a Season 4 eventually. or at least HBO is like so confident in it that they're definitely going to give Nick Pizzolatto a season 4, right? So that, you know, we're going to get a season 4 most likely. Nick Pizzolatto, the showrunner, already has an idea, a wild idea. I'll get to that in just a moment. A wild idea for season 4. And we're going to wait a little bit this time to make sure it's a fully developed story and probably, you know, get some really good cast members attached again. And then we're going to go for another run. So to me, I think this is the best case scenario. Just my early kind of prediction. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see True Detective until 2021. I don't think the way that this whole article and this news has come out and the way Nick Pizzolatto has spoken about it, I don't think that well, definitely not in 2019, right? Because it just aired in January, February. But I would rule it out for 2020, I think. I don't think we'll see it in 2020. 2021, I think, will be when season 4 will hit. And, okay, so then as to the wild idea for it. So, of course, minor spoilers ahead for True Detective Season 3 if you haven't seen it and you plan on watching. But, basically, in episode 6, I believe it is, it's episode 5 or 6, I kind of forget off the top of my head, but one of those two, where they basically make an Easter egg, you know, reference, universe reference, I guess, if you will, callback, to Season 1. And they show Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson and their two characters, right? Rusty was the main, like the big picture of it, and then they also showed, I think they showed both of them in the picture. And so basically, and they also raised the suspicion as to this crime in Season 3 being then connected to Season 1 and also establishing a little bit of a universe. But either way, and after the Season 3 finale, we know that they weren't connected at all. But even just with showing that picture and the character making reference to it, we know this all takes place in the same universe. Now, of course, it's an anthology. You're getting different stories in different places with different characters. A different cast, of course, as well. But with that, just that reference alone, that now officially establishes that this is a universe that is connected, right? Because this story happened in this, you know, in this universe that he's built, this world that he's built for the show. And so I think just with that, you know, sole thing of, wow, I mean, this is a universe now, right? Season 1's crime exists in the same world that the Season 3 crime does. And so I think with that, a lot of people are now speculating on whether they will do a Season 1, Season 3, they probably will ignore a Season 2, any involvement with that. They're probably just going to try to forget that, right? I don't think it'll ever be forgotten. But, you know, so they're going to probably try to do kind of bring in a Season 1, bring in Season 3, and somehow maybe connect those two, or bring in a new story with some of the Season 1 characters, somehow connect these stories a little bit, and bring it down to a big time Season 4. And by big time, I'm talking Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, Mahershala Ali, Stephen Dorff. Like, that big. That's what I'm talking about, and that's what a lot of people are speculating right now. Now, after the Season 3 finale, that is kind of... It's kind of a slighter chance, if you will, at that. Because the way that it ended, it turned out that these crimes weren't connected. However, there were some things. I mean, between the time, they did 3 timelines in Season 3. And so with the timelines, it was about 25 years in there that we really didn't learn anything about, right? We didn't learn much about that time in those 25 years. And so I think a lot of people are speculating that maybe within those 25 years, something may arise there where we, you know, didn't necessarily get explained in Season 3, and that might be the connecting to Season 1. So, to me, I mean, if you're going to do a True Detective Season 4, and you're gonna bring in a Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, or somehow at least connect a Season 1 to a Season 3, somehow, I don't know. I mean, that is just going to be big time for HBO. I think everyone who maybe didn't even watch Season 3 because they weren't really invested in the series anymore or the IP. I think anyone that enjoyed Season 1 is going to want to watch Season 4 and see these characters and see how this universe is all connected. And also, I mean, Season 4 could be the last season of True Detective. I mean, we don't know, right? And, you know, I don't think... Now, Season 4 is bad, obviously. Yeah, it has a good chance of being the last one. But, you know, I think if it is the last one, and that's kind of what they're leaning towards, I think you go out with a huge bang, and a huge bang would be Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, Mahershala Ali, Stephen Dorff. Maybe you bring in another big actor, probably a woman, right? You want to have some diversity in the leading cast. Rachel McAdams was great in season 2. With the writing that she was given, obviously she doesn't deserve all the blame for some of the bad stuff in there. But anyways, if you want to do that for a season 4, I mean, count me in, right? And I think you can still obviously develop a really great storyline with those characters and do a really great job of connecting things. I mean, Nick Pizzolatto, this has kind of been his would I say child? I don't know. I kind of want to go that far. I think this is kind of his child in a way, in the way he's been kind of treating this and being able to, kind of write with this and stick with this for, I think it's, been 5 years now since season 1 came out? I think it was 2014. And so to kind of stick with this and be kind of intertwining these stories just within the past 3 seasons and then kind of go out with a huge bang in season 4, I think that's the best possible outcome. So anyway, so those are my thoughts. I think a wild idea means connecting those season 1 stories with maybe a season 3 and maybe doing a kind of joint thing. And that's, that's big right now, right? With the whole crossovers, team-ups, and all that stuff, right? That's big right now in movies and TV shows alike. And, if you were to do a True Detective, I think you want to talk about 8 million? I wouldn't be surprised you get 16 million. I mean, like, to be honest, I mean, just think of that. Think of the possibilities there from just that cast alone. And then you get Nick Pizzolatto in there's the showrunner, writer, director. I mean, he does everything for the show. I think the possibilities are endless. The potential is just through the roof. But anyways, love to hear your thoughts on that one. What do you think this wild idea is? Or could it just be a whole new different idea and somehow, basically establish a whole new story? And, that could obviously be possible too. Hopefully they'd be able to get some big cast members again. And that would be great. But you know what? Stephen Dorff, going into it, I'm like, okay, Mahershala Ali is just going to be a force. And of course he was. But Stephen Dorff, I really think he's going to get overlooked at the end of the day, especially come award season for the Emmys, which is so unfortunate. But it's because of Mahershala Ali, right? But I think Stephen Dorff, I mean, going into this, I did not expect the phenomenal performance he gave, and he really did. Scoot McNairy, to me, deserves also an Emmy nomination for his performance as a supporting actor. I mean, he's kind of the definition of a supporting role, and the way he played it was, again, just phenomenal. So I think if you're going to talk about awards for this show, I think those 3 all deserve to be in the contention for awards. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mahershala Ali takes home for limited series. He was absolutely great. Of course, remember, at least just Stephen Dorff and Mahershala Ali are playing 3 different versions of themselves character-wise. Scoot McNairy too. So yeah, just crazy stuff. But anyways, let me know what you thought of this one. Let me know what you think season 4 could have in store for us. A little bit of a team-up, crossover, universe type of thing. That would be really cool for me at least. But anyways, love to hear your thoughts on that one. Alright, so now let's move on to our second topic then, which is new Walking Dead spin-off in development at AMC. So this is a quite exciting one here, for sure. Okay. Yeah, everything's looking good here. Alright. Okay, good. Appreciate those who are tuning in live, of course. So, let's get into this one. New Walking Dead spinoff in development at AMC. So, this article here is from Deadline. I will say just off the bat, this is big news, but it's not... I don't know how to word this exactly. It's big news, but again, it's not. Because, obviously, a new Walking Dead spinoff in development, I mean, that's kind of huge news. And a lot of people have been speculating about this, Walking Dead fans, for, basically ever, since Fear the Walking Dead got established. But to hear it confirmed is huge, right? But then also to hear what came with this confirmation news is also a bit disappointing. So, let's get into this one. This is the article from Deadline. A new spin-off of The Walking Dead is in the works. AMC Networks confirmed during its quarterly earnings call with Wall Street analysts. Asked to elaborate on CEO Josh Sapan's mention of a third zombie outing, COO Ed Carroll said the spin-off is in active development. So not just in development, I mean, it's active development. They have writers, they have, you know, they're really working on this, right? It's not just, oh, they have the idea. Though he declined to offer many more specifics. Quote from Carol, "We're not at a stage where we'll be announcing its plans to premiere, but we have hired creative people that have pitched story outlines. We feel very good about the development of that series. We're not in a position to talk about partnerships in terms of other territories or ancillary windows. Other than that, there's a healthy appetite for it, and we've had a number of conversations with a lot of players in the space." So then Deadline says, "A new TWD series comes as the Mothership show has seen a slew of departures, such as Andrew Lincoln and Lauren Cohan, and series low ratings in its 9th season. Additionally, as more crossovers are in the works with spinoff Fear the Walking Dead," right? Dwight's going over there. "Lincoln is set for a series of TWD movies, and Denai Greer will be easing down her TWD presence in the show's upcoming 10th season." So, of course, all those things are things we know as Walking Dead fans already, right? And so what is the news here? To me, simply put, the news is that they are actively developing a new spinoff. Any of the other stuff, and honestly, I've seen like other articles, I mean, people just out there on Twitter and stuff saying, "Oh, I heard the spinoff is about, you know, this and this." It's like, no, like this news is solely that they're working on another development. There really is nothing else. There really is no other details about what it is, you know, what they're going to focus on, who's involved. I mean, nothing has been released. Now, I will say also that this is something that we knew they've been working on since the whole announcement of Rick's movies, right? I mean, we knew, I mean, maybe even since Scott Gimple left as showrunner, we've known that he's been the chief the chief executive officer of the Walking Dead universe, right? And so with that kind of job announcement, it was also announced that they're looking at doing other spin-offs, TV movies. This was, of course, before the Rick movie announcement, but TV movies, webisodes, and all that stuff, they're basically just, you know, expanding the whole universe twofold, right? They're basically doubling everything that they've already done with just Fear and the original. And they've also done like Red Machete, the video game, the episodes, and stuff like that, right? But with this, it's like, no, we're going to get more spinoffs, we're going to get more TV movies, and we're going to do more of that stuff. So to me, it's like we already knew that this was coming. This is really just kind of another step in the direction of finally getting an announcement for a spinoff, which is that it's been confirmed it's in active development. So to me, the only news here is that it's been a confirmation, or it's been confirmed that a spinoff is now in active development. That's really it. I mean, again, if you see anything else on the internet, I mean, go and look at all these reputable sources like Deadline, credible sources like Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, all these. I mean, there really is no other details reported right now. So that leads to the fun part then, which is speculation time. All right, so as a Walking Dead fan, I gotta give my 2 cents in here. So what would I like to see? My 2 most likely candidates right now for this Walking Dead spinoff is the following. So number 1, which okay, let's do this. So I'll do my most likely and then my kind of least likely, but still in contention, okay? So my most likely is an overseas spinoff. And what I mean by that is, I mean, The Walking Dead has always been an international entity. I mean, you know, the UK, it's really popular in the UK, you know, which, like, kind of oddly popular because it's you know, a lot of other AMC shows are not at all, they don't even reach out there, really. But anyway, so The Walking Dead has been always an international, you know, it's always been popular internationally, right? And so to have a show, to establish a spinoff located, I mean, it might film in the US, but located or based in England, for example, right? Or the UK or somewhere in Europe, for example, would be, I think, something that Walking Dead, AMC, and fans alike would all kind of appreciate. And I think that would I think that would obviously be, I think, the best choice right now for a spinoff, because you've already done Fear, you've done it in America, and now they're actually, I think it's that they're now in the same area as the original series, right? and you've messed with the timelines a bit there. And so again, this is another question, or more back to speculation on the Rick's movies. And a bunch of people have said the helicopter is going to fly him to Europe, and then we're going to see an overseas version. And so if that is the case, then I think a spinoff overseas based in Europe is inevitable, right? I think we're going to see then that spinoff for that group that he visits, or that area, or whatever, right? Or that, at that group, or, whoever is there that's in the helicopter taking him there, right? Because a lot of people speculate, like, why would you have a helicopter if they were also based in the U.S., right? And right now they're on the East Coast, around Washington, D.C., so, it definitely could be possible that they kind of fly back over to Europe, to the UK, or something like that, and we take this show overseas. Again, which would be such a cool thing, because that's something The Walking Dead has never done. And again, you see this with the original series, where they, it's 9 years. I mean, let's just be honest. There's not a lot of brand new stuff that they can, give us about the apocalypse in the U.S. I mean, there's a certain limitation to all the things that they can do. And so I think an overseas show would also just give us so much more potential for this series, and also obviously some new characters in it. So I think that is the number one most likely possibility right now. And then also you could establish with that the Commonwealth from the comics, and other groups like that that have already been written in and written about, right? My second one is a Negan spinoff, and this one is interesting because it's not something that you could keep going for a number of seasons, really. But I've always wanted to see a Negan spinoff, which would be basically, probably about a 6-episode, 8-episode kind of mini-series spin-off, where it would basically tell the origins of here's Negan from the comic books, and also basically just show Negan and the Savior's journey up until the survivors met with them, right? And this is also a troubling one, too, because the true Walking Dead fans, the hardcore ones, all obviously kind of, we all kind of like Negan, in the show, and of course by reading the comics we know so much more about him than the show obviously portrays. And so I think the hardcore fans would love something like that, a Negan spinoff, to see that play out on screen, but the average viewer of the show would probably not appreciate it as much, because they've been kind of hating on Negan, right, the last 2 seasons, and me included. I mean, I'm not saying that, I didn't hate Negan as the antagonist, but, and so I think, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to play with, to see how popular it really would be and what the potential is there for viewership and ratings-wise for a Negan spinoff. And we've already heard news that he was in talks with AMC for a Negan spinoff, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And so I think it's possible that that's the case. A wild card that I'd throw in was the Maggie one that they were talking about, which again I feel like would be a mini-series, because by the sounds of it, Angela Kang and the showrunners are already writing in for her to return in season 10. Now, whether it's a series regular role or still a reduced role, remains to be seen, but it sounds like she will be returning for season 10, or at least that's what they're planning. So I think that again would be a kind of a shortened mini-series type of spin-off as well. But those are my thoughts on the new Walking Dead spinoff that will be coming to AMC, it sounds like. And of course, a Dwight spinoff would have been one of my number one, but of course now he's going to Fear. So I'm guessing that we'll get a little bit of an explanation on where he's been for the past, 5-6 years, right? Where he's been, or 7 years even, I think, between the original series and where they're at in Fear. So anyways, those are my thoughts on that one. Love to hear your thoughts on this one as well. What do you think this new spinoff is going to be? What do you think of this news? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one and discuss. Alright, so then let's move on to our next topic, which is Star Trek Discovery. Really awesome news here. Alright, yeah, Star Trek Discovery Season 3. So, first of all, I mean, Star Trek has had its issues, right? It had its issues getting off the ground, if you will. And it's on CBS All Access. Of course, there is a little bit of skepticism going in there. A lot of people at first just weren't able to watch the show because it was on CBS All Access. No one was really interested in getting it. And so to hear that Star Trek Discovery renewed for a season 3 at CBS All Access to me, and I think a lot of people out there, is quite impressive. Just to see, you know, if you look at the journey, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit with this Hollywood Reporter article, the journey that they've been on since the beginning and of production on this show to now, it's quite impressive. And I think a lot of people have been saying that season 2 has been quite an improvement from season 1. I think a lot of people have been agreeing with that sentiment, and it's great to see. It really is. Now, I have not watched Star Trek Discovery. Not into the Star Trek, Star Wars type of stuff there, but I do know Sonequa Martin Green went to it, of course, from The Walking Dead, and I know some other ones. What was I'm trying to think of. Was it Logan Peck? I think that's his name. He's coming in season 2, and I've seen him in some other stuff too. But yeah. There's a few cast members that I know from it that would probably be my only reason for checking it out at some point. But anyways, let's get into this one. So, Hollywood Reporter says, Star Trek Discovery will take off again for CBS All Access. The platform has handed out a 3rd season renewal for the cornerstone of its rapidly growing Star Trek franchise. Additionally, Star Trek Discovery writer Michelle Paradise, what a last name, right? What a last name. Michelle Paradise, who joined the series season 2, has been promoted to serve as a co-showrunner for season 3. She will continue to work alongside franchise captain Alex Kurtzman in the series. Paradise becomes the 3rd new showrunner to pilot Discovery. Kurtzman, who co-created the series alongside Brian Fuller, took over for Aaron Harberts and Gretchen Berg after the two were dismissed early in production of season 2, and then Harberts and Berg replaced Fuller, who was also let go before the series debuted. So, you know, you just see this, like, crazy exchange of showrunners, right? So Kurtzman and Paradise will serve as co-showrunners. A return date for the 3rd season was not announced, and the renewal arrives as the drama returned January 20th. For its sophomore run after nearly a year off the air, as Kurtzman charts a careful course with the series, following multiple delays in getting the drama off the ground ahead of its 1st season, right? So, quote, the massive success of Star Trek Discovery's 2nd season launch exceeded our expectations in both driving subscriber growth and generating a phenomenal response from Star Trek fans, said Julie McNamara, who's the Executive VP of Originals at CBS All Access, right? So with Alex Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise at the helm, we look forward to continuing Star Trek Discovery's journey, growing the Star Trek franchise, and on CBS All Access, and bringing fans new Star Trek stories for many years to come. So, some awesome stuff there. First, to just unpack a couple things. So, Star Trek Universe, they talk about this in the article as well with this one. Of course, we know some spin-offs are coming, right? So, we know Picard spin-off is coming, a live-action Picard spin-off. We also know the spin-off starring one of the characters from Discovery is also going to be it is in development right now, and it sounds like it is going to be coming to CBS All Access. So they've really done a good job at, building kind of a universe. That's what they're doing. They're establishing kind of a Star Trek new universe here on CBS All Access and other things too. There's some other spin-offs that are getting made kind of, I think by way of Hulu, I think a couple of where they're on there. Nickelodeon was also doing a new animated Star Trek thing. So there's definitely a lot of possibilities right now around this, and it all depends on the success of the original series, and that's what they've had. You hear this quote from Julie McNamara, the VP of Originals, saying the subscriber growth and the popularity is incredible, and Star Trek Discovery is really the first and still remains the biggest CBS All Access show, and probably the best thing that they have going for them right now. Now, if you want to talk about the Twilight Zone reboot coming, Jordan Peele's reboot, that's going to be big, I think, for them. That's probably going to get them a lot of subscriber growth as well. But just in terms of right now, Star Trek Discovery is that show for them. They don't have anything else even remotely close, in my opinion, for this. And I've checked out, I think, almost all of them so far, except like 2, I think, so far. So, but anyways, yeah, I think, because I think there's about 6 series on there, and I think I've checked out 3 or 4 of them. But anyways, Star Trek Discovery, not one of them, but Anyways, so really great news here. That's renewed for season 3. Of course, this is, you know, not too long after season 2, you know, aired. And, again, I think that speaks to a lot of the fan reaction on season 2, basically saying it's a lot better than season 1 was, and that it definitely is improved. And also we see that with a little bit of more consistency of the showrunners here. And of course, we also do get Michelle Paradise, who has been a writer now on season 2, into the mix as a co-showrunner, which again is great. I mean, if you're going to talk about season 2's, you know, raising that level, and Michelle Paradise is one of the writers responsible for that, I think making her a co-showrunner is the best you know, possible decision there, for sure. So, anyways, her and Kurtzman will you know, helm the ship, if you will, going forward with Star Trek Discovery. So yeah, really awesome stuff. Really happy for Sonequa Martin Green. Man, as a Walking Dead fan, great to see her as Sasha for 3 seasons. But it is great to see her, you know, career really growing now from Star Trek Discovery as well. So yeah, really great stuff here. Renewed for season 3 at CBS All Access. We'll probably get it then in 2020, I would think. Or maybe if we're lucky by the end of 2019, we'll have to see. So CBS All Access Twilight Zone reboot is coming out shortly, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Really looking forward to it. So we'll have to see how that one turns out with CBS All Access. Alright, so then let's move on to our 4th topic of today, which is Disney Villains TV series in development for Disney Plus. This is just really cool news. Honestly, just really cool news. Now, it is in development, so there's no confirmation that this series will actually happen. But just the kind of outlook of what it might be is really promising, and it sounds really awesome, to be honest. I mean, honestly, this just sounds really cool. So this is from comicbook.com. A bunch of people were reporting this one. And I do have something to show you guys just after I'm done reading this. So stick around for sure. So Disney is going all in with their upcoming streaming service, Disney Plus. And that evidently includes bringing together some of its most iconic villains for their own series. Disney has a robust cadre of villains at its disposal, and according to Production Weekly, Disney will be enlisting some of them for a new Disney villain series, which is being developed by Steve Perlman from Once Upon a Time, I think he was co-showrunner, right? Co-showrunner of Once Upon a Time, and Michael Seitzman from Quantico. So an interesting duo there, right? Like, kind of 2 totally different, you know, extents. But anyways, few details are known at the moment, other than that it is slated to start production in the 2nd quarter of 2020. So that means that it's a little bit farther away, 2nd quarter, so that we're looking at about April to June, right? April to June of 2020. So this one is quite far away. We probably won't see it at least until the fall of 2020. But again, just the outlook and the possibility here is awesome, right? And so that's what comicbook.com goes on to say here. As for what the series will be, we're not quite sure. Will it be an anthology series with each episode focusing on a different villain? Or perhaps they all team up, Legion of Doom style, against the heroes that have thwarted them in the past? Can you imagine a group comprised of Ursula, Maleficent, Captain Hook, Hades, Scar, and more assembling together? Yeah, it scares us too. Disney is bringing many of these villains into live action thanks to its string of live action remakes recently, and this year we will see Scar and Jafar get the spotlight thanks to live action adaptations of The Lion King and Aladdin respectively. And of course, Dumbo is coming out too, so that's another live-action remake of Disney. But anyways, again, like I don't want to read that sentence again, right? Can you imagine a group comprised of Ursula, Maleficent, Captain Hook, Hades, Scar, and more assembling together? I mean, like, just the possibility and the potential here is off the charts. And I will say at first, this Disney Plus thing didn't really seem like much to me. It seemed like a lot of Marvel stuff, and to me, I'm not a huge Marvel guy. I haven't really seen, have you seen any of the movies that are in this new MCU kind of thing? I don't think so. maybe, yeah, it's Iron Man 3. Does that count? I don't know. I think I saw that one. But anyways, I'm not a big Marvel guy. And so I think at first I was like, oh, Disney Plus, it'll just be kind of a new Marvel platform to do things. But then we get the announcement of Mandalorian and some other great shows. And then we get this. And like this is the first thing, I will be fair, or will be honest, this is the first thing that's really kind of got me on board now with the Disney Plus, and the potential of this platform, because it really is through the roof. I mean, you just hear this, like a Disney villains team up series, like who would not want that? I mean, it just sounds awesome. And so it's really, really great to hear this stuff. Now, the biggest thing about this is whether it will be animated or will it be live action. So, a thing to talk about this now, just before I forget here quickly, which is this picture that I have, which was also posted then on this comicbook.com article. Alright, so this is from Production Weekly. So basically, echoing, right, the news that comicbook.com reported, so I already talked about that. But take a look at this picture that Production Weekly posted along with it. Isn't that an awesome picture? Now, I'm not sure if they put it together. I have a feeling they did. I didn't visit the article ahead of this, but I assume that they put it together. But, I mean, just look at that, right? So, if you want to talk about... and that could be like a poster for the show, right? I mean, like, that just looks really, really awesome. So anyway, so you can check that one out too. I mean, that is a tweet. So Production Weekly on Twitter. But anyways, so the biggest thing is, I mean, imagine that. Animated show of those villains. And it's going to look like that, right? For example. But I think a lot of people now are thinking, no, it sounds like live action. Which a bunch of people are, understandably a little upset about. Now, of course, we get names like Steve Perlman and Michael Seitzman, both from, of course, live-action shows about, well, one of them was about Disney characters. And so I think, I really do think that it is going to be live-action. The sounds of it, it really does sound like that. Why would you get a guy like Steve Perlman from Once Upon a Time showrunner to do a animated show? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And again, why would you get a Michael Seitzman from Quantico if you're just going to do an animated thing? And also the whole thing about starting production in the second quarter of 2020 seems rather specific for a production date for example, to just start animating the show. It seems rather specific. So to me, it does sound like this will be a live action show, which to me is really unfortunate because honestly, I think an animated one would have more potential and just more, I don't know, I just think it would be much better than a live action. But saying that, I mean, we saw the success of Once Upon a Time. Again, we're going to have to see the success of the live action of Lion King, Aladdin this year. Of course, Jungle Book was really successful. So, it's really, I would really love to hear your thoughts on this one, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Whether you would want this to be an animated or live action, and by the sounds of it, it's going to be live action, and are you okay with this being a live action show? Anyways, some really great news nonetheless, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on which side are you on, and which one you would like to see this one be. But either way, I think we can all say that this is really exciting news that we would be able to get a show like this, that they would be able to give us this. So anyways, some really awesome news here. All right. So with that kind of out of the way, let's go on to our last topic then of today's episode. All right. And this one actually is just going to be kind of a quick one. I just want to share my thoughts on this one. I'm not sure that everyone saw this because it wasn't kind of, talked about. It wasn't, hugely advertised or anything like that. But I did take a look at this one, which was the HBO 2019 Coming Soon trailer. And so basically it's about a 2-minute trailer putting together some never-before-seen footage of some new shows coming. Of course, the biggest of them, Game of Thrones. There's some new footage in this, so that's Game of Thrones fans will be definitely very happy. Really, really cool visual of the dragon, one of the dragons kind of, flying right above them in the sky. I mean, that is just an awesome visual right there in this trailer. So I do suggest, even if it's just for that, check out this trailer. It's about 2 minutes long from HBO, basically putting together everything that is going to be coming in 2019 into a video, and each show gets about 5 to 10 seconds. I think Game of Thrones gets like 30, but anyways. So the description of it reads, "It all starts here." And then in the description it says, "My heart stopped when seeing this new Euphoria and the Righteous Gemstones footage, and started again at Watchmen. 2019 is my new favorite year. Hashtag HBO 2019. So, big stuff here. All right, so I'm just going to quickly share my thoughts on this coming soon trailer. My kind of overarching thing about this trailer, you know what? It reminded me that HBO is still by far my favorite platform for TV shows. I mean, it really is. I mean, everyone talks about Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video. You know, a lot of people still like network shows, and that's fair. AMC has been really good, but HBO is truly unmatched. At least for me. I know a lot of people like Netflix, honestly. I still don't view any Netflix original show quite yet. I still don't think quite yet any Netflix original show has gotten to the same level of quality. And it's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of a, you know, it's tough to describe, but it's like that quality that HBO has in every single show they put out. I mean, some of them are bad. Like, don't get me wrong, Camping this 2018 was bad. But, you know, some are bad, but it's like, it's just that, you know, higher end quality to HBO, and I still don't think Netflix has quite reached that level. Now, some people disagree, you know, for sure, but to me, HBO, still my favorite platform. And I'll tell you, what do I have here? About 6 reasons why. So, number 1, The Righteous Gemstones. Man, I am so hyped for this, and after this, it was literally like 5 to 6 seconds, and I just freaked out. The footage, it's basically John Goodman saying, you know, I forget exactly what he's saying, but it says something, it's about a televangelist family, right? With Danny McBride, Adam Devine, John Goodman, Eddie Patterson, like, and then, of course, David Gordon Green, I think, is the guy co-creating it with Danny McBride. Of course, from Vice Principals, Eastbound and Down. Like, this is just such a good show. It just looks so awesome. It's going to be a half-an-hour comedy on HBO. Danny McBride's track record is awesome with both Vice Principals and Eastbound and Down. Enjoy the hell out of both of them. I'm so looking forward to this show. And again, it literally showed us like 5 to 6 seconds, but I can't get over how good it looked. Next, Succession. Succession Season 1 was my biggest surprise, I would say, of 2018. Honestly, I would argue that it's one of my new favorite shows on the air. I absolutely love Season 1, especially the ending to Season 1, and I'm so looking forward to it for 2019. Season 2 will be coming this summer. Then Deadwood, the movie. I mean, you want to talk about the cast for that one? Incredible. The little bit of footage that we saw in this one looked really awesome. Another one that's kind of went under the radar for a lot of people is OG, and Jeffrey Wright is starring in that one about a... basically an inmate prisoner who's, I guess, on this rehab, basically rehab program, and so he's going through that. Kind of a big picture for Jeffrey Wright to kind of star in, and I think he will do a really great job. Really looking forward to that one. Chernobyl miniseries with Jared Harris. Jared Harris is amazing in The Terror Season 1, and so... really fell in love with him and his performance in that one, and so I'm really looking forward to Chernobyl and seeing him star in that one. It's based off obviously the true story about a 6, I think, to 8 episode miniseries. And then The Deuce Season 3. I mean, Season 1 and Season 2 have been awesome. Season 2 I felt like was a step up. Season 3, the final season, is going to be something incredible to watch from David Simon and George Pelecanos. So anyways, and of course there's more, but those are my main reasons that I'm so invested in HBO in 2019. This is going to be a great year for TV. Not, you know, just in general, but just specifically for HBO, I think it's going to be awesome. And of course, I'm not caught up with Game of Thrones. I'm not a huge fan, but of course that Game of Thrones footage in there is obviously something to be excited about for HBO 2019. But anyways, if you've seen the trailer, let me know what you think of it, or even if you haven't, what are some HBO shows that you're looking forward to in 2019? Yeah, and of course Euphoria is a new one there with Zendaya. That one's coming out too. I think that one's going to be pretty damn popular. And so that's also one I talk about as well. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts are on that one. Let me know what shows you're looking forward to on HBO in 2019. Alright, So, with all that out of the way, that'll just about do it then for today's episode of Let's Talk Television. I said this one would be a short one, right? Anyways, so anyways, as I do every week, I like to finish off here with my weekly notables. For my TV shows that I watched this week, which were a few. I think I saw 3 episodes this week of TV, yeah, I think one of them stood out. One episode definitely stood out. So let's get into this. My weekly notable episode is True Detective, Season 3, Episode 8, Now I'm Found, the Season 3 finale. You know what? Again, it was a little bit disappointing for me. It could have been more satisfying of a finale, but that being said, I will recognize quality, I will recognize greatness, and this was a great episode. It really was. Yeah, it could have been done better as a finale. It could have been more satisfying, but as an episode, just in general, I felt like it was one of the best ones of Season 3, and just really awesome stuff. So you know what? It was good. It just lacked that kind of next level that I was expecting from it going in, and that's kind of what it was. But yeah, still the best episode this week. Notable performance, I gotta give it to Mahershala Ali. I'm trying to be like diverse with these performances. I try not to give the same actor or actress, the notable performance every week, but I gotta give it to Mahershala Ali. I mean, his performance was unmatched by anything else I saw this week in this episode, True Detective Season 3, Episode 8, Now I'm Found. I mean, if he doesn't get the... Okay, well, no, that's not fair, but if he doesn't get nominated for an Emmy, I would just lose it, but no, I think he will. His performance in this was, again, incredible. He was just a force. He played 3 versions of the same character in 3 different timelines. The makeup for him was awesome. He had changed his voice almost completely for this, older version of himself. I mean, he just did an amazing job. And in this episode, of course, he was awesome. A real great focus on him in this one to end it off, as he's kind of our main character. And it was an amazing performance. Just actually, it's one of the better performances I've ever seen, I think, on TV throughout this season from Mahershala Ali. It's been awesome. And True Detective is really that place where we see these amazing performances. And this season was definitely not an exception to that. But anyways, so there you go. That'll just about do it then for the episode of Let's Talk Television. As I said, love to hear your thoughts on this news, and also what TV shows you're watching now, what ones are you looking forward to, and I would love to discuss that with you guys as well. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this one. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support on this series. Do really appreciate those of you tuned in, the weekly episodes and talking about all the biggest news in TV. So, anyways, we'll see you guys for the movie news, basically part of this weekly show, which is Let's Talk Cinema. And that'll be with Greg there. Hopefully Monday, maybe Tuesday though, but hopefully Monday for that one. Talking all trailers, movie news, casting announcements, everything like that. So if you're interested, for sure check that one out. That'll be live on Monday night. But anyways, thank you guys so much again for watching, and we'll see you then next Saturday for Let's Talk Television, the next episode. Hopefully we'll have some more news about some new shows coming, and we'll talk about those then. But anyways, see you guys next week. Take care, guys. Thanks.